Hello and welcome to the show, where in today's gameplay demonstration I am going to show you how to play / combo with Galactimon, the BT11, like the BT11 deck, because almost every single card in this deck comes from BT11. So I played Galactimon in Germany's side event, going free. And there was actually a guy who topped the real main event, came to the top 32 day 2 with Galactimon, and I think Galactimon is a super underrated deck. The only problem is the fact that it's super weak to Digivolve, therefore it doesn't really fit into the current meta, but Galactimon can sneak into your local meta. So, I will structure the video like this. I'm going to show you 2 scenarios on how to play the deck, and then after that I'm going to talk a little bit about the bad, the good matchups, and the things you need to think about. So, let's just get into it. We are on the play, so let's go. Hatch into a very nice Doraemon, evolving into the Vemmon for 0. Draw. Proceeding to play. Pride Memory Boost for 4 doing its effect. Reveal top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 black Digimon card with a play cost of 4 or less among them without playing its memory cost. Trash the remaining. So we'll trash and play the Vemmon. So, when the turn shifts over, our opponent will annoyingly put us to 1, which is the right thing to do against a Galactimon player. We'll draw for turn. We'll promote. So who is this Vemmon? This little guy, this tiny little guy. You can include up to 50 copies of cards with this card's card number in your deck. He got a main effect. Well, by suspending him, we can reveal top 3. We can take up to 1 Snatchmon, Destromon, Galactimon, or Fusionize among them to our hand, and place 1 Vemmon among them under this Digimon at its bottom Digivolution cards. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So we'll place the Vemmon right under here. Put the rest to bottom, and because of Dory we'll draw 1. We'll tap the other Vemmon doing its effect. Vemmon under, rest to deck bottom. Then we'll pass turn by playing Analog Boy for 2, putting our opponent to 1, doing its effect. We can reveal top 3, add 1 Digimon card among them to your hand, trash the remaining cards. We'll take Galactimon to hand, and the rest is trashed. So, for the sake of it, let's just say that our opponents are super annoyed at the value we're getting, so they decide to remove our tiny little boys, and let's say they play like a floodgate that negates us gaining memory. So, we'll draw for turn. We'll do a little hatch of another cute little Dory boy. We'll evolve into the Vemmon for 0, and we'll draw. So, what's actually important with this deck is, next turn, when this Vemmon goes forward, we need to do the thing that this deck does. The format is incredibly fast. The quicker you go into your big boy in this deck, the more of a chance you will stand. So when this guy goes forth next turn, that's when things will happen. So, to guarantee that we can do the thing next turn, we'll play tie for 4, putting our opponent to 2. So what's actually really important as a Galactimon player is that for you to do your thing, you actually need to be at exactly 3 memory. So when the time comes that you know, okay, this turn I will go into the Galactimon, you have to either have the Pride Memory Boost or the tie. Otherwise you're gonna have a very big problem getting into your big boy, because you're just gonna stumble into like the level 4 and the level 5, and that's not gonna be enough. Your opponent will probably remove that, and that's not a good thing. So whatever our opponent does now, when it turns back to us at 3, I will draw for turn, and just already conveniently making space for the boy. We'll promote the Vemmon. We'll do his effect, tap him, reveal top 3. Venom to bottom sources. Fusionize to hand, Pride to bottom. Dory effect, draw 1. The Venom will evolve into Snatchmon for free, going to 0, draw. Effect. By putting 2 Vemons at the bottom of his sources, we can return a Fusionize from our trash to hand. So boom, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's return this Fusionize to hand. So let's proceed to use a Fusionize. Since we have a Snatchmon in play, we can actually reduce the cost of it by 1, making it 0 cost. By placing 1 Vemon from trash, I may digivolve this Digimon into a Destromon or a Galactimon from the trash for its Digivolution cost. So we'll evolve the Snatchmon into the Destromon from trash, Vemon inheritable. When this Digimon would digivolve into Destro or Galactimon, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. Since there are 5 in its sources, it will be 0. Draw a card. Destromons, when digivolving effect, reveal top 3 cards of your deck. Place 1 Vemon among them to the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution sources. Then, if there's 5 or more Vemons, destroy one of your opponent's tamers. 1, 2, 3. Vemon under, rest to trash. We have 6 in sources, so boom goes one of our opponent's tamers, and obviously here comes the big boy, Galactimon. Since Vemon's inheritable is only once per turn, but we did add another Vemon by the Destromon's effect, Galactimon will only cost 5. We'll draw. To his effect, we can place up to 4 Vemons under his sources. And if there are 8 or more, we can destroy one of our opponent's Digimon. So we have 3 in trash. We'll... You know, the problem now actually is that he's such a tall boy, so he doesn't even fit on screen properly. So, but we do certainly have 8 or more Vemons in his sources, so boom goes one of our opponent's Digimon. Galactimon is essentially a persisting bastard. Anytime he would be removed from the board, meaning like chaos degradation, battle, any kind of bounce to hand or deck, you can discard 4 Vemons and he will survive. Like anything. But that's not all. Destromon and Snatchmon. On opponent's turn once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, by placing 2 Vemons to the bottom of the deck, you can switch the target to this Digimon, and then Snatchmon all turns once per turn. When Vemon is placed from this Digimon's Digivolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck, unsuspend this Digimon and it gains blocker until end of your opponent's turn. So, what this guy essentially does is, he destroys a Tamer, he destroys a Digimon, then on your opponent's turn, he can redirect 1 attack and block another. And when the turn shifts back to us at 3, we'll unsuspend, we'll draw, we'll hatch. Start of main phase, trash the top card of your opponent's security. So yeah, he's a bit of a menace. And like I said in the beginning of the video, he specifically is very weak to de-digivolve, since that doesn't count as leaving the battlefield, since the Digimon remains even if he gets de-digivolved. But man, isn't this guy actually super cool? Like, he really just craps on security control. Sure, if they play Wyvern's Breath, since DP minus doesn't count, because sure, if he becomes 15,000 minus DP and he gets to 0 DP, we can technically save 4 Vemons, put it at the bottom of its deck, but then he will just die again. So that's really important to think about. Even if it dies by minus DP, you can still place Vemons at the bottom of its deck for you to, for example, not mill out. So here's another scenario. So let's say our opponent somehow just yeeted our Galactimon away and now only remains one sad little tiny Vemon with 1 Vemon already in its sources. So we'll do the effect, we'll tap, reveal top 3. Oh, Galactimon to hand, Vemon under here, swoop. Draw because of story. We'll use a Fusionize for 1, because we don't have a Snatch one this time. We'll put under 1 Venom, ignoring its second effect because it's a May. We'll crack the boost. We'll use another Fusionize from our hand, going to free, doing its effect. We'll put under a Venom. And this time, we will actually resolve its effect. Because Destromon actually has that it can Digivolve from Venom for 6 cost. It won't count the inheritable from this one, since it's the one evolving from. But since there are foreign sources, the Venom will Digivolve into the Destromon for 2, reduced by 4. Draw, doing its effect. Another Venom under, trashing the rest. And once again, using a third Fusionize for 1, doing its effect. Let's put a Venom under. And we can Digivolve Destromon into the Galactimon that died. For a reduced cost of 2, costing us 4. Draw. Putting 4 Venoms under. So as you can see, it's actually a pretty interesting deck with a very simple game plan. Like, the only point of the deck is going into the Galactimon and he being just a fucking menace to your opponent. And with multiple ties on field, he will just become stronger. So at a playset of him will make him an 18k redirective blocker. And the reason we play analog, except, you know, it's not only good for, you know, milling our cards that have value in our trash and Venoms, it also gives the Galactimon like attacks. If your opponent actually gets to the point that they kill the Galactimon, the fact of the matter that it actually costs them a couple of memory will be annoying. So, what is this deck good against actually? Well, there's actually multiple decks this deck is incredibly, like, actually a super good matchup against. One of them is honestly Crosshearts, because I met 2 Crosshearts players during the side event and 2 of those were wins. And I think the reason why is just because the deck is fast. Like, sure, Grandis player can just kill you on turn 3 if they have the nuts, but there's pretty much no decks that can do anything against. But if your opponent gives you enough time to push out your second Doraemon, you will go into Galactimon. And since you have, like, you blow up a Tamer, which is devastating, and you go into a Galactimon, a big dude that they can't remove, that redirects on blocks, and doesn't give a single shit about anything they do. Like, that's honestly really good. And though, talking about Grandis, Galactimon destroys Grandis. Because think about it, if the Grandis player does not have the nuts, what can they do? Because I will put out this dude, and he will always be tapped when you Digivolve into him, because you always tap the Venom to get that extra Venom under. So you will just redirect the attack into him, and you just discard 4 Venoms to the bottom of your deck. He unsuspend, he gains blocker, sure. The Grandis player will then suspend him, but the Grandis player won't have game. And if they decide to hit one more time, the Galactimon will just finish the Grandis off. My third win was against Grandis for this very reason. Because once he got into the Grandis, did the whole thing, what could he do? Because I wouldn't allow him to finish me off. And there's multiple of tools this deck can use to deal with a wide board. But I'm going to get far more into that in the upcoming deck profile I'm going to do of this deck. Another good matchup is obviously Security Control. As long as we get a second copy of Tie out on the field, and the Galactimon becomes 16k, they can't really do that much against the Galactimon, because what will happen is that the Violence Breath can't kill them, so what are they gonna do? They can't remove it. So if they use the Chaos Degradation for 8 memory, we just put 4 Venoms to the bottom of our deck. At the start of our turn, we'll trash their security, we'll swing. Oh, another Chaos Degradation. Oh, let's put the last 4 down into the bottom of our deck. Then we'll build into another Galactimon, milling our deck again. Because as long as they actually try to remove the Galactimon, it will just keep surviving, refilling our deck. And we can just go into another Galactimon. Because if we have a Galactimon and we just keep hard playing these boys, and they just keep swinging or they just remove it, it goes to trash. We build a new Galactimon, and and it just rinse and repeat until they honestly have no gas left. Because you are not afraid to let this guy swing into the security. Because what's the worst that can happen? And trust me, this deck is super good against pretty much any casual deck, since they can't deal with him redirecting and unsuspending and gaining blocker. Like any normal deck don't have the tools to deal with this. It's pretty much only the Blackboard that has a consistent way of just shutting the entire deck off. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this a little bit more simple explanation video of how to play a deck. And I'm going to make a deck profile, actually 2 deck profiles of this deck in the coming days. So look out for that. Remember to leave a like, a subscribe, and have a very great day. Bye bye!